What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and it is for Virtual Worlds. So with the new set dropping, Virtual World probably saw the most support coming out of that, and pretty much clearly like top meta deck now that it got even better, and Drytrons didn't get much, if anything, at all. Drytrons do though have like the XCs coming in future, which will definitely see their power level buff up a bit, and who knows, maybe the ban list might shake this up at the end of the month. That was really loud. I have no idea what that was. Oh well. All good. But we'll get into the deck profile for this one. But as always, before we do get started, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people. I have no idea what's going on outside. It sounds like there is a truck or something. Hopefully you can't hear it, but let's get on into the deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we have, of course, 3 copies of Lulu, the primary searcher slash, like, the best card that you can summon in the deck. Gets you a whole bunch of resources. I find in matchups where I'm playing against this deck, hitting the Lulu or stopping the Lulu's effect is probably like the most important thing, just because it gives them so many free resources, and thus, when you're playing the deck, you can take full advantage of that. So we have 3 copies of Lulu, probably the best card in the deck, almost certainly the best card in the deck. Next off, the card we've cut to 2 in this list is 2 copies of Nyan Nyan. You can consider playing this at 3, it's just not super necessary anymore. Given that the new card effectively does the same thing, gets itself back onto the board. The Nyan Nyan, though, is a good normal summon, which is the primary reason I like it still in the deck, and definitely consider playing it at 3. It's not wrong to play this card at 3, it's just like, when you're trying to cut down to 40 and still have space for other like tech choices, you can definitely like slim this down to 2. But as we get deeper into the deck, you will notice like some other changes that I've decided to go with. If you do not want to go with those changes, I would probably recommend either like putting in other hand traps or going with the Nyan Nyan to 3. Next off, we've got 3 copies of GG, Recovery that you will forget to activate because Scam Search End Phase. Make sure to get a tattoo of this if you're a Virtual World player, like right on the wrist, like GG End Phase, like right there. It's the only real way to remember your GG effect, so make sure you do it. Then we've got 3 copies of Reborn in 3 copies of Liao Liao. Card, very good. Get you that free Reborn. Also the tuner. Makes your whole world go round. Then 3 copies of Li Li, the Kieran. Kieran's not banned, it's right here. Kieran just resolve, get you multiple of the alternative types into the graveyard and helps you play a lot better. Then we have 1 copy of the new card, the Tutu. The card that can, for some weird reason, be normal summoned without tributing if you control double VFD. Card broken. Nah, the card's decent. Like, it's a good one-off to have in the deck. Gives you a bit more variety in your names and you can kind of extend a bit deeper. But you just need one of it. It's just a solid name. Helps you extend. Good card. That rounds us off for the Virtual World lineup. So next off we get into our hand traps. And that is 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Just because we're in a format right now where Droll is probably the best hand trap you can play. At my locals especially, like, there is still a whole bunch of, like, Invoked running around. There always has been. It never went away. So Droll's very, very good. If you do feel, though, at your locals, like, as always, the hand traps are changeable. So if you don't like this option at your locals, definitely consider playing something else. That does also serve for the next card, and that is 3 copies of Gamma with the 1 copy of Driver. I'm not playing a target in extra deck for this to, like, if you use it on your turn. However, though, Driver level 6. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Math says 3 plus 6 makes 9. So you can definitely just use this as a part of your Synchro package, and then your Gamma can still get the Banish, but you have the Driver engraved for later, which is good because you can resolve multiple Gammas. That's it for our monster lineup, though. We do get into our spells now, and of course, we are still playing 3 copies of Quinlong. The Grave effect is simply too good to cut this card down. Also, the negation on field also comes up quite a lot, so very, very good card. Both effects are absolutely 100% good broken effects, so do not cut this down to 2, like it is necessary to have 3 of this. After that, we've got the card that will get ashed because it says special summon. That's 3 copies of Kowloon. Sorry. Card good, open it, activate trap from deck. Then next off, this is probably a controversial change, I guess. Like, it's not massively controversial, but you can consider it that way. And it is now 2 copies of Pot of Desires. The reason why we're playing it is because you always draw a Pot of Desires statistically off the other Pot of Desires. That's actually a lie because we're playing 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. We're simply playing a 2-2 lineup. If you do want to play, like I said earlier, the 3rd copy of... It's not in the middle. The 3rd copy of your Nyan Nyan. By all means, you can cut this and go back to the 3 Desires and just play the 3 Nyan Nyan. However, I felt as though playing the slimmer lineups, the Prosperity was a very good option. If you do want to, though, go to the 3 Desires, play just like up your ratios so that you don't accidentally banish all your Yan-Yans and then kind of be screwed a little bit. Card's very, very good. It's not, like, important. It's just, like, more consistency, and that's key in this deck. Consistency, always key. Lets you choose, which is good. Another card for consistency, and that is 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. We are essentially playing the, 7 consistency spells in the deck. Does mean the deck is ultra consistent, but you can still brick, which is a bit rough. Seeing multiples of this can hurt very much. You don't want to do it. Just hopefully you don't. Fingers crossed. After that, we of course have 1 copy of E-Telly. Gets you cards from deck, so good. Then we have 3 copies of Chuchi still. You can definitely consider cutting this down to 2 with the playing of the new pot card instead of Desires. However, I felt as though if you do lose all your Chuchis at any point in the game, it becomes very, very bad for you. You definitely want to have one on board. So playing 3 copies of Chuchi is definitely the optimal way to go, unless you kind of worked around a bit more in your ratios. Maybe completely cut the Desires. Then you could definitely consider just playing 2 Chuchi. But at the moment, 3 Desires, or 2 Desires, 2 Prosperity does seem optimal. You could just go to 3 Prosperity though, and then you'd have free reign to cut anything you want out of this lineup because you're so heavily playing 3/3/3s because Desire is such a thing. Then rounding off the main deck, of course, we have the new card, a Monster Reborn Trap, and that is last name. No, it's Zhuangwu. Okay, next off we have the extra deck, and of course, hopefully the card that will get banned, that is 2 copies of True Kings of All Calamities. Hopefully this deck list doesn't hold up very well, as apparently my lights start to get a little dim. They might be getting a bit low on battery, so we'll kind of rush through the rest of this. We've got 2 copies of the True Kings of All Calamities as well. Card probably should be banned, rank 9, says no, very good card. Then we have 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Send everything to graveyard. Very good card. Out's your Dragoon. If you have problems adding Dragoon in the deck, this is your Dragoon out. Then we have, of course, 1 copy of Gaia Dragon and 1 copy of Constella Polemi. You can switch these 2 out for a copy of Fortune Tune as well as the Downed Magician. They do effectively do the same thing of you can get a free bounce, go over the top, do some piercing. Good. However, the Fortune Tune can't be destroyed by battle, which is good for securing the fact that it's going to attack and get to your Zeus. So that can be a change that you can consider making. There is the other card that I'm playing in the Utopia Beyond. You can also consider cutting. Just my locals is very heavy on Dragoon, and being able to just switch its attack to 0 with the Beyond is very, very good for the deck. If you're at a locals though where Dragoon isn't running around massively, or it's not something that's on your radar, you can just consider cutting this and the Thunder Dragon and switch in the Fortune Tune and the other Downed Magician. But at the moment, I'm just going with this package. It's still the package that I've been running from the start, so good cards. Then we have, of course, the Pop in 1 copy of Breaksword, and then we have the Effect Negation in 1 copy of Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. Remember, if you draw your opponent, you can't activate this because it says draw. Bad, but yeah. It's overall a good card. The effect comes up a lot as just a double layer of protection for your True King of All Calamities if you can get to it, which is always good. Then we get into our Synchros. We have, of course, 1 copy of Monster Reborn in the Cloud Castle, 1 copy of I Say Draw cards in the Ravenous Crocodragon, 1 copy of Shen Shen for that macro and recovery. Always make sure you detach this first if it's under a card, otherwise you don't get to resolve the effect on the next turn. Very important. Then we have, of course, 1 copy of Vermilion Dragon Mech for those free pops. Not free pops, but pops are good. 1 copy of Juji. This can be cut as well if you do want to get into that Fortune package. However, I felt as though Juji's correct. When I was playing against a virtual player last night, they just kind of made this when I was playing Dragon Maid, and I kind of sat there for a couple turns I've kind of bricked, so I can't out this, and it was a bit rough. Then we get into the last of the 6s, so we have 1 copy of Coral Dragon and 1 copy of Stardust. Both of them say draw card, which makes them good. However, this one says tuner, and this one does not say tuner. So whichever one you need to get into, you can get into, get your draws off. This one also gets a free pop, which is always good. But that wraps us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations and things that you would change, make sure to comment them down below. So yeah, as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, here with some lights that are about to run out of battery. And have a good afternoon, everybody.